Hello, hello, hello. Hmm. Welcome to tonight's live. How's everybody doing tonight? April Fools to everybody. If you celebrate it, let me know what you did today to your significant other, to your kids, to whoever. I didn't do any April Fools, the jokes on Vincent, because he wouldn't realize it was April Fool's Day, and then he'd be like, not realizing it's a joke. So let me know what you guys did because I bet you guys did some good stuff. I bet you guys did some really good stuff to whoever. And if you didn't, don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. I'll end up forgetting, that it's April Fool's Day. I'll have people out here, saying we're unsubscribing or something. Did you hear about that? Tim Miller? Yeah. There's been an arrest. Well, let me see. I heard that it was connected to what's his face? Who? So this isn't the guy that I thought. We might have to go over that. But yeah, is it this guy? No, that's why. Um, I was trying to see the guy that was charged because I thought they were saying it was somebody like that was familiar. I guess it's this guy. 1984. That's what started him starting this. I know we like totally got off on that, but yeah, no, I was thinking of Tim earlier today, and I hope his heart is so full right now, like just knowing who did this. He's been helping so many families for so many years, longer than I've been alive. That's crazy. I can actually say that. 1 year longer than I've been alive. He's been out there. Well, approximately that's when his daughter went missing. But he really has helped a lot of families get closure or find their missing, or find their missing person, whether they're dead or alive. He finds them, and he's older, and he still gets out there and does it. I don't know how he does it, but shoot, show me the ways, because he really is like, I mean, he's active out there. But welcome to the channel, everybody. If you are new here, I'm sure the people that are in right now aren't new, but if you are new or you're watching on a replay, this is Titanium Bill, and my name is Tanya. We are a true crime channel. So if you do appreciate the coverage tonight, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like. It's a free way to support the channel. Go ahead, hit that like now. That way more people will come in. The faster we do it, the more people that come in. It really is. We don't just say that to y'all. It does sound like a really good lie though. It really does, but it's not. But thank you. I do appreciate you guys being here tonight. We're going to get into an older case, but it's a case that still hasn't been solved. And I actually did a documentary. It's probably been like 2 months ago I did it, maybe, or but no, about a month ago, maybe. And then I went to put it into my iMovie so that I could edit it, because I don't know how to edit. Like, I was just going to make the transitions a little smoother. And for some reason, it cropped me into like a square box. And now it looks funny. So I'm going to record it again. I did record it again. And then the second time I recorded it over here. I didn't look good. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. And if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. I felt like I was rushing it, and it just was like, no, let's do this another day, where we can give it a good time. So give it the time it deserves. So look at that. Willow's been a member for 10 months, getting close. And then your arm will change. Thank you for being a member for so long. I don't know how I didn't see you earlier. I was like, Ladybug, I don't see her. I was like, I don't see Willows. I was like, the Willows block me. Don't block me, Willows. That could have been a good April Fool's prank. But if you do decide that you want to become a member throughout our live, you could do so by clicking the link that'll be in the chat through Nightbot or myself, or you can do so by clicking the little box to the right of the chat box. So this is a case that has I've been following this case probably since it happened, I would say. Probably about since it happened. The bar that Brian Shaffer was last seen at, the Ugly Tuna Saloon, I've actually been there a couple times. I showed you guys a picture of me there one night. It was actually during the day, and I was looking a mess because I was a little hungover. I went there to get a little, what do they call it? The devil's breath or something? Whatever it is, that's what we want to go do. We want to go try to make ourselves feel better. So I think with that and us being, close in age, a little bit, because he was a little bit older than me, then I think that's what kind of got me and drugged me into it. But we're going to talk about one of Ohio's most disturbing unsolved disappearances, the case of Brian Shaffer. If you don't know, he was a 27-year-old medical student who vanished in Columbus after a night out with friends. He actually went to Ohio State University. What makes this case, so unsettling is that Brian was seen entering the bar. There's CCTV footage, but there's no clear footage of him ever leaving. And there's actually been a detective that, scoured this whole tape of him, and they don't ever see him leaving the bar. Years later, it's been 20 years today, and investigators still don't know what happened to him. So Brian was a second-year medical student at Ohio State University, just kind of like Spencer Tepe. He went there too. And welcome in, everybody. Hey, baby girl. Thank you, Franz, for the $2. Vienna, Austria. Well, greetings from Ohio, United States. That doesn't sound as good. That doesn't sound as good. Is it beautiful there? I bet it is. Hopefully one of these days I'll be more diverse and traveled. I've been to Canada. Okay. I've been there twice. They didn't really want me the second time. I was a little crazy. But I've dreamed of like going somewhere nice like that, like just like overseas. So on March 31st, Brian had dinner with his friends and with his father before meeting a couple other friends. One of his friends' name was Clint Florence. Now that name's going to come in. We're going to be thinking about that name here in a minute. The two went bar hopping that night before ending up at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, and it was a popular bar on campus. It says near campus in all of the reporting, but it was on campus. Security cameras captured Brian go near the entrance around closing time, and he was seen talking to two women outside the bar near the escalator. A short time later, he appeared to turn back towards the entrance. The moment became the last confirmed sighting of Brian. And I do have video of me going up there. I have video of me going into the building, like walking up to the building and going up the escalator. And when I went up the escalator to see the bar, because I knew the bar was gone. Like I knew the Ugly Tuna was no longer there, but I was wondering what was in its place. And when I walked up there, it was like student housing, like not like it's like where you go to apply for student housing. It was like an office. And I was like, this is weird. Like, because I've been there. It's just, it's very weird. So, but let me see here. So actually, we'll watch that really quick. Let's actually pull these pictures up too. So this is the actual the VICAP missing persons website for the FBI. And it's Brian Randall Shaffer, Columbus, Ohio. And look how old the pictures. I mean, it's like, remember we were taking pictures with like the disposable cameras? That's probably what this was taken off of. So I do have a better picture. I have some better pictures to pull up. So we'll go over here. This is the actual missing persons flyer. It says, attention, homicide, missing persons, and crime analysis units. He went missing 4/1/2006 from Columbus, Ohio. Brian Randall Shaffer, white male, 27 at the time of the incident, 6'2", he was tall, 160 to 165, brown hair, hazel eyes. He has a Pearl Jam tattoo. That's what this is here, on his right upper arm and a dot on his left iris. He plays the guitar and he's a medical student. I don't know why they put his interest on there, but I mean. So on April 1st, 2006, Brian Randall Shaffer disappeared without an apparent reason. The last known contact was at 1:55 a.m. when Shaffer was having drinks with friends at a local Ohio State University bar in Columbus, Ohio. And then it just says, for additional information regarding this victim, refer to National Missing and Unidentified Persons Missing Person Database Case Report. I should have pulled that up. To provide or request additional information, please contact Detective Andre Edwards of the Columbus Police Department at 614-645-4624. I wonder what additional information you would give. I'd like to know what do you think about Clint? No, I was just going back between the two different lives. I wasn't seeing them at the same time. And you wouldn't see the same thing as me anyway. I see something different than you guys do. So if that makes sense. Oh, I meant to make me a little bigger. I don't know why it doesn't automatically do that. Okay. So we'll go back and I'll talk a little bit about why this case kind of became, so famous. I think it's the biggest mystery in this investigation is the reviewed security footage and them not being able to clearly identify Brian leaving the building. There's only one, they always told us there's only one way in and one way out, and he would be seen on this footage. And later on, police admitted to there being possible alternate routes, including employee exit and construction access. And a lot of people have theorized that maybe he went out the construction site door, even though it was supposed to be plywood or something was supposed to be put on it and stapled down or something. There was supposed to be something on the door to where people couldn't get out of it. But they're thinking that maybe he did and then he fell, and whoever these construction workers are, this is totally a conspiracy. Whoever the construction workers were covered it up the next day. Now, I don't know if that happened. I mean, it's a theory. I mean, everything's on the table, I think, at this point. If he did get out that exit, I wonder if there was stairs for him to go down or if it was just nothing. And that's why it was blocked off, because they hadn't built, whatever was going to be right on that other side of the wall. So they didn't have stairs there. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of possibilities. But he did go with a friend, Clint, and Clint has never he's the only one that's never talked to the police without, his attorney was nope. And he's the only one that didn't take a polygraph. Also, he was sent to he was a grand jury, called upon him, to testify. And his lawyer was nope, he's not doing it. So there's a lot of things that's you kind of look at his friend a little sideways. Because if that was my friend, I would immediately be give me a lie detector, whatever I got to do to clear my name. Let's find Brian. But instead, that's not the case. And I have a good thing that we're going to listen to tonight, a little documentary type thing. So, but some people do believe that, Brian simply slipped past the camera somehow in a blind spot in the building. I don't know. He could have. Others appear that something happened, others think that something happened after he left, possibly, nearby, foul play. And some officers that are retired that I was listening to today, they think that too. Another theory is that someone close to the situation may know more than what they're ever admitted to, though no charges have been filed on that person. Months later, Brian's phone briefly rang, which gave hope to his family that he might still be alive, but investigators later believed that it may have been a network glitch rather than proof of contact. So local Columbus news coverage has been heavy on here because of the case. Made no sense from the beginning. No confirmed sightings, no financial activity, and no physical evidence. Literally, he was he just literally disappeared. Now I will ask you guys some questions at the end of the live though too. So let me put this over here. And I don't know why I've got like a million. I'm going to show you the footage before we watch the tape of him coming up. So he'll be coming up this escalator. It does show a little circle around him. So the view that I got, I think I got both views. I'm going to put it in my documentary. I should have at least showed you guys one view. Let me see if I could pull it up real quick. Because I think I put it in an album like a regular person, not an insane person that doesn't do anything like that. I think this is the door. Okay, yeah. How long is this? 45 seconds. Okay. I have me walking up there too, but this is me walking into the actual. It's like me, but on the other side of those doors. So I'll show you both sides. It does look a little different now, though. So, okay. Well, I'll show you this one first, and then I'll show you the one that I just pulled up on my phone. This is a 3-minute tape, so we'll just talk through it because there's no volume. So there he is down here. He's wearing a gray, totally 2006, like the white long sleeve, kind of like what I'm wearing, like a long white sleeve shirt, and then gray polo shirt over it. I think he had on jeans and like white tennis shoes too. And this is him and his friend Clint coming up. There was, I think, another person with them. That person, I believe, came forward and did lie detector and everything. But I think there was another person with them that night. But I can't be 100%. I can't remember for sure. But yeah, you can see him right here. I mean, this camera is like, pretty good, right? Like this is the bar right here. Like as they're turning in, they're turning straight into the bar. There's not a door to go into. There's nothing. It's open. And normally right where this camera is, like right below this camera, there would be an officer standing there. And if it's the weekend, there'll be 2 officers standing there because there's a movie theater to the if you're looking where I'm looking, it'd be to the right. So to their left. So that's why there's escalator and stairs. So there's always an officer standing there. And then there will sometimes be like one standing right where we are, and then one inside the bar, just like standing with whoever is taking, IDs, just to make sure that the IDs are, legit and everything's good to go. I don't know why I didn't just talk while we watched go in, but I think this shows him even coming out maybe. Or does it just show him going back in again? Oh, no, there he is. So then he comes out. And now he's had a couple drinks because he's like, surfing on the escalator. Probably had a couple drinks. I should see the time lapse, actually. Hold on a second. Where were we at? We were only like 50 some seconds in. I want to see that, like, so it says 5:50, but that's not. Is that right? No, that wouldn't be right. Because it would be light out. So that clock's wrong. I don't know who this guy is running up the stairs. I guess he just wants to hurry up and get there to the bar. He's like getting his ID ready and everything. They did have good food. And they have a sister like bar in Easton, Adobe Gillas, and it's just like the Ugly Tuna kind of. It's one of those bars that are like you can tape up your $5 or your dollar bill and write on it, and their walls are covered with them. And like, it's just like one of those. They have like these fish bowls that you can get. They were at the time like $16, so they were a deal. You'd get like 4 or 5 people on one of them things, right? Ugh, just imagine this slobber. But you'd be drinking. That's what they'd be doing. So they leave, and then they'll come back up. Maybe they went down to have a cigarette, a little smoke break or something. That's the only bad part about this bar is like, you'd have to go out the escalator downstairs to smoke. They have an outdoor patio. I think you can smoke out there. I think you can. So maybe why would you go outside? Maybe it was too busy on the balcony. Is this where I got no, I don't think it was. I can't remember where it was. So they go out for a minute and then they'll come back in. So then it's 6:40 and then it goes to 9:15. So they must have left for a minute, like 4 hours, 3 hours. Because it said 5:50 and now it's saying 9:15. Maybe went to back to their house to drink a little bit and then come back pregame. Drinks are expensive when you're a college kid, and he was getting ready to go on vacation with his girlfriend. They said that they thought he was going to propose to her maybe on that trip. For some reason, I thought that was him right there. That is him. Okay, I would say I thought that was him. Let's just take it back a second. Now he's coming up with this girl and this guy. So this is probably Clint, but who is this girl that they got now all of a sudden? They could have met her right out the door and been like, "Hey, you want to go party?" And she'd have been like, "Sure." And then see, there's the two officers there. They just be checking, making sure everything's okay. And then he will come out and talk to two women. I think it's these two right here. Yeah, there he is right there. He looks a little intoxicated to me. Like I don't know, is he trying to talk to them? It looks like he's almost trying to. Like they didn't, you know what I mean? Like they were kind of doing their own thing over here. See them? Okay. I haven't watched this in years. So she's on her flip phone. I don't have a flip phone to do like a real one, I don't know how to do a flip phone with my hand, but she's on her flip phone, flips it. They move over here. They're talking. They're not with anybody. And then he comes up. It's like, where the hell did you come from, Brian? Like, did he walk like below to where the camera didn't capture him, or was he over here at the movie theater? And look, they're still not paying attention to him. Like those girls are not paying attention to him. And he's a cute guy. He's a very handsome man. No, this is the guy that's still missing. He's just been missing for 20 years and everybody talks about his case. Like a lot of people do, because they're just so baffled at like, how could he be on CCTV and then all of a sudden he's not? I want to see where he goes after this. I think he goes back into the bar. But see, like he even taps her, like to get her attention. Yeah. Where's Clint? Clint's inside. See, there he does. He goes back. It looks like inside. Oh, didn't mean it. Uh-oh, not Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, she'll get me. She'll get me that copyright. But yeah, so you're welcome. And hello everyone. Welcome in everybody if I didn't see you. They're going to they're going to go on a bar crawl, but went to a couple other bars and returned to tuna. Yeah, you're right. Jolly Jack. I wonder where they went. World of Beer wouldn't have been there yet. It came later. They probably went to that bar right across okay, there's like a courtyard and then the Ugly Tuna, let's say like if you're facing the road, not like, okay. If you're facing Ugly Tuna, we'll say. Ugly Tuna would be like on your right side. This other bar, I can't think of the name of it. It's closed now, but it looked almost like one of those buildings in Louisiana. Like it was very, I don't know, it just had a lot of like character to it. And that bar used to look like a lot of fun. I used to remember being at Ugly Tuna and being like, I kind of want to go over there because it looks like fun, but oh, not you, lady. That was sorry. but not like, I guess maybe I just didn't want to walk over there. So maybe that's where they walked over to. And that would have been a bar like that was pretty close. And they would have literally walked out these doors, walked across, walked into that bar. I mean, and then there is a couple other bars through there. I mean, there's so many that if you go down the road, just depending if how far you want to walk. But April 1st, think about it, it probably wasn't that cold out. Probably was a pretty nice night. Okay. So this is going to tell us a lot more about Brian. This is NBC did this. They did a like little special on him, which by little, I mean, it's like 40 minutes. So they did a pretty good job. I was listening to it earlier. I listened to 2 other news stations that did videos on him. And then like there's the WBNS one right here that's 7 hours ago. I didn't watch that one. And I'm like, I mean, there's a lot today, especially in Ohio, because it is the 20th anniversary. So it's, you know, it's a lot. Yes, I know who you're talking about. That he was on a sailing trip. And weren't they saying they were sending emails from the boat or something. He was on a boat. Now I can't remember. I know who you're talking about though. Oh, we'll have to think of it. I know who you're talking about. Okay. If you guys are just now joining us, we are talking about Brian Shaffer. He was a medical student in 2006, April 1st, to, obviously 20 years ago now. He went missing after leaving, he didn't leave, after, going into a bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloon and never walking out. His friend Clint, that was with him that night, and he's been like, mum's the word. He will not talk. He has a lawyer, which is fine. I mean, get a lawyer if you feel like you need one. But if your best friend was missing, I think that you probably take a lie detector or at least answer some questions. Maybe be like, I don't want to do the lie detector because I don't trust him or whatever it is. But I mean, at least answer some questions about your friend. I mean, he is your friend, right? I couldn't imagine like being Brian's parents. Brian's mom had just passed away from cancer, and then his dad died in a freak accident a few years, I believe, after Brian went missing. So his brother is the only one that's still alive.
It's stuck with me, and it'll probably stick with me till it's either solved or the day I die.
Every question leads to 3 questions. Every time that we think we have an answer, like, oh, well, that can be explained, it seems to broaden out to more questions. So there's a lot of mystery.
And if you guys don't mind, will you take a second and hit the like button for me, please? Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. If you're watching on vertical, all you got to do is click the screen twice with your finger. It's easy.
Don't just disappear. Bodies don't just disappear.
It's been 20 years since an Ohio State medical student was caught on surveillance footage walking into a bar, but never seen leaving. His disappearance captivated not only Ohio, but the world. The global interest in his case has led to dozens of theories and numerous leads and countless tips. But questions continue to mount. And 20 years later, police and the public are still asking, where is Brian Shaffer? This is Unsolved Ohio. Thanks for joining us for Unsolved Ohio. I'm Andrea Robinson.
And I'm Ava Boldazar.
27-year-old Ohio State medical student Brian Shaffer was enjoying a night out with friends on March 31st, the kind of Friday night that rolls into early Saturday morning. April 1st, 2006 on the calendar and just before 2 a.m. on the clock. That's the last time anyone saw Shaffer before he vanished from the Ugly Tuna Saloon near Ohio State's campus.
It was by all accounts a typical night for 20-somethings living near campus. Brian had gone bar hopping along High Street to kick off the start of spring break. The last stop of the night was the Ugly Tuna Saloon. While there, Brian separated from his friends at some point. Closing time comes and those friends began looking for Brian, but he was nowhere to be found.
Brian was supposed to go to Florida with his girlfriend a couple of days later, but never showed up at the airport and was reported missing. Now, 20 years later, what happened to Brian remains a mystery. Brian's loved ones, his friends, are still hoping for answers to this day. And I do have to mention that one of those friends happens to be my cousin, David Robinson, who you will hear from during this episode.
You'll also hear from investigators, advocates, and others who are all still trying to piece together what happened. But first, we want to tell you about the person Brian was.
He is the American dream by all accounts on the surface. He's a good-looking guy, 6'2", 165, 170 pounds. He athletic, going to be a doctor. I mean,
medical
it
student.
just is fantastic for success. It says America all over him.
Brian was in his second year of medical school at OSU and lived alone in an off-campus apartment on King Avenue.
He looked good, and he was a good-looking kid.
Wait a minute. I lived on King. Huh. Just for a little short time when I was in the hospital, but still lived on there.
There's another story before that.
Don Corbett is a retired private investigator who began looking into Brian's disappearance at the request of Brian's father, Randy, back in late 2006. And he's certainly right about that. There was a story to Brian before he went missing, and the people who got to know him before his name made headlines.
It's 20 years, and it's like, how can you talk about somebody like how you remember them that long ago? I just remember segments from that time frame.
David Robinson met Brian Shaffer in the late 90s, and the two remained friends through college up until Brian went missing.
He definitely had a kind heart.
Robinson shared with us some of the memories he had with Brian, like a boys' trip to New York City to watch the ball drop, and even joining the Shaffer's family vacation to Myrtle Beach one summer.
I remember
That's totally an early 2000s thing, I feel like.
times when he had long hair back in the day.
It's a different look than how people now often picture him, that clean-cut guy from his one.
You look like, I'll be able to show you some photos, but you can
I
look.
noticed that.
Okay, and what he wanted to do was he become.
Okay, sorry. It's going to go wacko maybe with the stuff for a minute. Let me turn it back on. Okay, we're good now. It just like booted me off there for a second, but you see how fast I came back? That's called it.
He was a big
And even had a pearl on his right arm. He played
Music's emotional. He didn't give that up if he's out.
Along with that passion, Brian was also known for being well-liked among his peers.
The people that we spoke with, for the most part, said Brian was a very stand-up guy, excellent student.
When he gets down to it, I think he was a genuine guy.
Lori Davis, a missing persons advocate who has worked with Brian's family since he first went missing, painted a similar picture of Brian.
I think Brian was a fun person. I think he was a very determined person. I think once he set up his mind to do something, he was going to do it.
At the time of his disappearance, Brian was dating fellow medical school student Alexis Wagner. While there were rumors Brian was planning to propose, Corbett says he doesn't believe that's true.
I spoke with both Alexis. I spoke with her parents. It just wasn't going to happen. You know, they only knew each other for 8 or 9 months. They were in love.
How would she know if he was going to propose? Maybe it was, I'm just saying, maybe it was a secret to her. I mean, nowadays, I feel like people say, hey, I'm gonna propose to you or whatever, or they give you little clues. But back then they did it. No one told you to go get your nails done. You know what I mean? Like, or anything like that. Like, I believe that he was going to propose to her.
But that's pretty quick. Another issue with that, just to speak of it, he supposedly had purchased a diamond ring, an engagement ring. Okay, that was false. His mother had told him a place where he should buy it if he was going to, because he discussed that with her, but he never ended up doing it.
Leading up to his disappearance,
His mom died before. How does this guy know all this?
Brian's family was going through a lot.
He was under a lot of pressure. You know, he just lost his mom weeks before.
Brian's mother, who he was close with, died March 6, 2006, after her battle with cancer. This was less than a month before Brian disappeared. And in the months leading up to April 1st, emotions were already running high. And Corbett says, adding in Brian's disappearance, his dad, Randy, was devastated.
He would call me at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning when he needed somebody to talk to, which I did. And I believe he called some of the police officers. He became close to them. I feel bad.
Brian's dad tirelessly searched for him in every way he could.
I know at the time they combed everywhere. They had a fundraiser for Brian that his dad hosted at Flanagan's, I think.
Randy Shaffer died a little more than 2 years later, never knowing what happened to his son after being struck by a fallen tree during a storm in September of 2008. With both parents gone and Brian still missing, his brother Derek is the only immediate family member remaining. Derek and his wife released a statement saying, quote, "Every day we think about Brian and can't believe it's been 20 years. We still continue to hope and pray to have answers someday and wish that anyone who knows anything would come forward." He's caught on camera walking into a bar. That was the last of him. Still to come, we'll walk you through that surveillance video in the last moments anyone saw or heard from Brian.
I forgot to show you mine. I forgot to show you my footage. Okay, I'm gonna pause. We're gonna do a quick pause. Okay, I'm gonna stop that screen and let me share this. Okay, now I don't know why it's on my phone, so that's probably why it's smaller. Like it's so small, but you'll get the gist. This will be. I'm gonna turn the volume down. So I don't think I say anything, but I do. I think I go up the stairs here. Maybe not. I might just go in and pan around. I'm not sure. I forget what I do on this video. But this would be like if you were to be, I had my little tripod with me. If you were to be walking in, going up, obviously up, I'm not going to be on the second floor when I go in. But it still like pretty much looks the same. You don't see the lights, but they might not be on. I guess I do go up the escalator this time. Okay, we're going to take a ride. Hold on to the railings if you think that you want to. We saw those TikToks about how people say they're so dirty, and they are. That's why you have hand sanitizer. See how there's nothing there now? So right here, you literally would have walked into the bar. Like when I saw those wall up, I was like, oh, hot damn. So I walked down a little bit and I said, what's this? And it is Ohio State University Department of, I don't know what it just said, Planning and Real Estate. So very, very different than what it used to be. I'll have to pull up that picture of me sitting outside of there. I have blonde hair at the time. I'd be looking crazy too because I was hungover.
And later, podcasters claimed to have new information in Brian's case, including that police reportedly dug up a basement in connection with his disappearance.
Welcome
Who are these podcasters? I don't trust them.
back to Unsolved Ohio. Nothing seemed unusual or stood out in particular the hours leading up to Brian Shaffer's disappearance 20 years ago.
It was the Friday before spring break, and Brian started the evening by going to the Outback Steakhouse in Reynoldsburg with his dad.
From what Randy said, they had a good dinner. There's a lot of speculation that there was an argument about insurance money. Randy never told me that, so I can't speak on that really.
After dinner, Brian and his friend and former roommate William Clint Florence met up. The duo went bar hopping, starting their night at the Ugly Tuna Saloona just before 10 p.m. Davis says Alexis was out of town that night with family. Alexis reportedly called Brian and the pair talked on the phone around 10 p.m. when Brian told her he loved her and would see her soon. Brian and Clint had some drinks at the Ugly Tuna Saloona before moving on.
They had several drinks, cocktails, shots, whatever they were drinking. They socialized. And then at that point, they moved northbound up High Street.
Why haven't we, I just realized this, why haven't we ever saw any footage from inside the bar? There's cameras inside that bar.
After visiting some other bars in the area, including the Short North Tavern and Brothers Bar, the duo returned back to the Ugly Tuna Saloona. This time, they were joined by Meredith Reed, a friend they had met up with that night.
Okay.
Here's that surveillance video again. You can see the trio is captured entering the bar at 1:15 a.m. At some point while inside the bar, Brian separated from Clinton Meredith after he reportedly said he was going to see the band that was playing that night. It is not believed that Brian personally knew the members of the band.
I saw photos of the weekends and how packed it could be. So when it was that packed, it could be hard to find somebody, you know what I mean, like in a crowd of people.
Around 1:55 a.m.
It would be hard because those bars do get very packed. Like, I've been in this bar, it does get very packed. I've actually sang Piano Man, ain't gonna lie. I was having a great night that night. Just let's say that. In this bar I did. I think it was my birthday. And you know what? I think I left my friends too, actually, to tell you the truth. I don't know where I left them, but I left them somewhere. I did. I think I did. I don't know. I was in my own world. I was having my own fun. But it could be hard to find somebody, but he's 6'2". Look up. You know what I mean? Like, I think you'd be able to find him.
This is the last,
or have them call it on, like, tell one of the bartenders to call it out. Say, hey, I miss my friend. Can you call out his name? Them bartenders would be happy to be able to get up there and scream out something real quick because they're just frustrated anyway. So scream out a name. Yeah.
time we see Brian captured on security footage talking to two women outside of the bar. He's still inside the Gateway building, an entertainment hub that housed the Ugly Tuna, a movie theater, and other tenants.
Brian comes into that open space at the top of the escalators. You can see a couple security guards there. You can see Brian talks to two females. They have both been interviewed by the police. Randy talked to both of them extensively. I do not in any way believe that they're involved, in what happened with Brian, but they were the last people to see Brian.
Minutes later, around 2 a.m., Clint and Meredith were ready to leave and began looking for Brian. They could not find him, so Meredith called him and left a voicemail. Shortly after 2 o'clock, Clint and Meredith are captured on camera.
Clint and Meredith are holding arm in arm together, so no wonders why Clint and Meredith were ready to go. In my humblest opinion, they were ready to go back to the house. They're walking into that bar a lot differently than they're walking out of that bar. And remember, he's had like 50 drinks at this point. I'm exaggerating. You know what I mean? Because they have drinks, they go to another couple bars, they meet up with her, and then they come back. And then, all of a sudden, time to go. Man, they shouldn't have left him there.
Ready to leave and began looking for Brian.
Like, I mean, he didn't even live close to the bar. Like, so it's not like, and there was no Ubers. It was 2006. So what are you going to do? Call a taxi? And the taxis in Columbus and they don't come. They come get you 20% of the time they'll show up, and they're late if they do show up.
They could not find him, so Meredith called him and left a voicemail.
She left a voicemail saying, "We had to go."
Shortly after 2 o'clock, Clint and Meredith are captured on camera leaving the Ugly Tuna Saloona. The bar closed at 2:30 a.m. And in one of the most baffling aspects of this case, Brian was never seen on camera leaving the bar or the Gateway building. As daytime came on April 1st, Alexis called Brian multiple times, but he did not answer. By the next day, friends and family began trying to locate Brian to no avail.
The girlfriend, Alexa, showed up at the airport Monday morning and said he didn't show and had alerted him, and so they filed a police report.
On April,
that's another thing that bothered me about this case. Why didn't she talk to him throughout the weekend? If they're boyfriend and girlfriend, she just didn't talk. She was just like, "Oh, I'll see you when we go on vacation Monday." Like, that always was weird to me, that there was no communication throughout the weekend. Because I would think that I would be communicating with my boyfriend throughout the weekend, and if all of a sudden communication stops, I would be like, does he want me to go on this trip? Are we going on this trip still? What's happening right now? Like, and I would want to get a hold of him before the trip.
April 3rd, Alexis and Brian were supposed to go to Florida. Alexis waited for him there at the airport, but he never showed up. His dad then filed a missing persons report.
You're watching Unsolved Ohio, and next we'll take you along with us as we trace Brian's last known steps.
And still to come, the new information we're learning about the case. This is Unsolved Ohio, and we're looking into the disappearance of Brian Shaffer 20 years after he went missing. Brian was reported missing 2 days after he disappeared. That's when an investigation ensued. Before we get more into the investigation, we want to help you understand the layout of the Gateway, the building that housed the bar where Brian was last seen.
Yeah, Ava and we met with private investigator Michael Kenny to walk through that area where the Ugly Tuna once was. Again, this bar was in the Gateway Plaza on High Street near Ohio State's campus. The bar is no longer there, but the building itself and the escalators seen in that surveillance video still remain.
Here we are 20 years later. The escalator, the camera, the bar, and the construction entrance.
Once you enter through the main doors on the north side of the building and go up the escalator, in 2006, you would have found the Ugly Tuna Saloona at the top and to the right.
Here's where the bar was, right here.
Told you.
It stepped back, and this came out, and here was the construction entrance.
In security video released by Columbus Police, you only get one view. It's this shot right at the top.
So the construction entrance, I never knew that. That makes way more sense. Son of a, oh my God, my brain is fried. I mean, I'm just like, oh my gosh right now, because we've always been told or always led to believe that the construction entrance was inside of the Ugly Tuna, like back in like where the employees would be. Like, so it was always a big thing. Like, how would Brian even find that exit to get out of it? But that makes sense. Okay, so the two double doors for the college housing that I showed you when I was going up the steps, that's where there was two doors or a door for the construction site. Somebody drunk, I could totally see taking a wrong turn. Or being Brian, and what if these two officers are still standing right where they are right now when he walked out of the Ugly Tuna and he knew he was really intoxicated, so he was like, I'm gonna go this way out these doors to not have to go by the cops. That blew my mind, because I didn't think that I thought it was, they were always making it seem like it was inside the Ugly Tuna.
Top of the escalators.
So he's about right here when he's talking to the girls. But the interesting about this is every time you have a question on this case, you find yourself with 3 more questions.
A big question that's taken over this case is whether or not Brian actually ever left the building. Some consider he left through a separate exit, possibly even through the construction area.
So if he didn't come out here and he didn't somehow come off the balcony,
Right.
he could have potentially came out from back here.
I think it's a 0 chance he came out this way.
Okay.
Because so many people have watched this. So I believe he came out that way, perhaps out the back door or the fire exits.
If you assume Brian did leave the bar through that construction exit, that would have let him out of the building at the northeast corner, which is where a Jimmy John's is now located today.
This is where the exit of the construction was, to my understanding. That's what I was told. It's how you slide out. And then, so if he came out this way,
Yeah, I was told that.
he would then walk down this alley.
And I have pictures of video of me walking down this alley.
And where the condo is where there was the parking lot with the Wendy's.
We're told scent dogs were used to help find Brian, and those dogs picked up his scent in this alley that led to a Wendy's parking lot.
How about that Wendy's?
And did he plan to be picked up? It's closing time. He slides out. And did he plan to get picked up at Wendy's to go somewhere? And did that go south?
Or did the dogs lose his scent there because days had passed and maybe Brian had simply walked home?
If we were seeing him at Wendy's here,
Right.
if Wendy's was once here, and then he's probably not too far from home once he's even.
Yeah, he lives right over there.
We wanted to see for ourselves just how far of a walk it was to get to Brian's apartment.
Maybe it wasn't
We
far.
headed east on 9th Avenue, took a left on High Street, and headed south until we met King Avenue for another left on King. And it took us just about 10 minutes to walk there to
He lived on the other side. Oh, Okay, he lived on the other side of King. Okay, I was on the hospital side.
Wait, King Avenue.
Now to the investigation. Sergeant John Hurst was working for the Columbus Police Department during the time Brian disappeared and was on the original investigation team. He says there were multiple exits in the building that Brian could have left out of.
We had the main exit going up and down the escalators. He could have went, at that time, the public had access where they could get down to where the construction area was and the hallway. And the hallway ran behind a couple of the businesses. So he could have went and walked through one of the businesses if he got lost down there. But we followed those up and talked to everybody. And even though there wasn't no footage at the restaurants at that time, we talked to the employees and they determined, we determined that he hadn't went that way. Nobody had noticed him or seen him. The exact number, I'd say maybe 8, 10 off the top of my head. I don't really remember the exact number. There was at least 3 in the construction area and then a couple others throughout the building there.
Investigators say in 2006, the gateway and surrounding area had extensive security camera coverage.
Obviously, we didn't pick him up going down the escalator, going out. There was a camera in the hallway going down to the loading dock area. Didn't catch him on there. There was a camera in the loading dock area where the trash bin was. Just all those cameras, we weren't able to see him leave the building.
Everyone was checked multiple times. And I'll be honest with you, too many for me to count. Not only did they check the cameras there, they did an excellent job of going to the cameras in the surrounding area. Because, okay, so once he broke the perimeter, he still had to go somewhere. So you've got restaurants, you've got fast food areas, you've got convenience stores, and cameras in Columbus, Ohio, even at the time, was one of the cities with the most cameras. So he should have turned up on a camera.
Despite this, all those involved with the case who NBC4 spoke with believe it is likely Brian left the building. Hurst told me that a couple of the security cameras outside of the building panned. We've all heard that Brian was...
Well, where would he be inside the building? In the walls? Every time people say that, well, we think he left the house or we think he left the building. It's like, obviously.
Recorded entering the bar but never recorded leaving. Do you think it's possible that he did leave the bar without being captured on camera?
Absolutely. I think it's possible.
Well, 100% yes, and he did. Okay, it wasn't spontaneous combustion. He didn't just disappear, but it played up well. I mean, for the rumor mill and for a lot of the social media and so forth. And it really, that's one of the things that made this such a big deal. But if you know anything about closed circuit television, okay, and security cameras, there's never 100% coverage. Okay, there may be mechanical issues. The camera may not be focused exactly where it should. There's always dead areas below the cameras because the cameras are out. Some of those cameras are panning.
Is there more surveillance footage that the public hasn't seen besides that one video of him going up the escalator?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of video footage. I mean, hours and hours. We had Detective Andre Edwards. He was the one that went and retrieved all the footage. And
well, it said Detective Andre, whatever. I said it was Andre. He said if you want any more information, or like other than what I guess whatever's out, just if you want more information, let him know. Well, I'm gonna let him know. Can we see that tape for the inside?
How many discs of footage we had? It was maybe 20 with just hours and hours of footage on it. And there's a lot of it, yes, that wasn't released to the public.
According to Hurst, every single employee of the Ugly Tuna Saloona who was working on the night Brian disappeared was interviewed.
We did a canvass of the area, interviewed numerous people in the area to see if they had heard or seen anything. And obviously, as tips came in, we interviewed more people. My guesstimate would be well over 100 people were interviewed with this situation. As far as what areas was searched, we started with the Ugly Tuna Saloona. searched the inside of it. We searched the entire building, searched the roof. We even had the covers taken off of any area that a body might have fit in, and brought in cadaver dogs, and nothing was seen there that was useful. Then we expanded our search to the area around the Ugly Tuna Saloona. We also had people go up and down the rear mounted unit.
The construction area has been a big point of interest in the case, with some speculating Brian became lost or got into an accident on the site. But investigators say the area was extensively checked, and it would have been difficult for an accidental injury to occur there.
The construction area was checked over and over again. One of the things that kind of got blown out of position is it really wasn't that big of a construction area. The business was pretty much constructed.
And it was just a big dirt pile, basically, is what it was. And then again,
Hold on. Did that guy just say that the building was constructed and this guy just said it was a dirt pile? Hold on.
Difficult for an accidental injury to occur there.
Don't step on it.
The construction area was checked over and over again. One of the things that kind of got blown out of position is it really wasn't that big of a construction area. The business was pretty much constructed.
and it was just a big dirt pile, basically, is what it was. And
So who do we believe? Was the building constructed almost? Or was the building still a dirt mound? I did. Happy Cappy. I didn't mean to. She came into our life. She fell out of Vincent's car and now she's here. Oh, after the live, don't let me forget. I'll tell you what happened when Rocky met her. You're going to want to stick around for that. I got it on video. Oh, I got to edit it somehow. I got to get that out because people need to see it.
And then again, it was secured. Their doors were plywood and secured with a chain and a lock.
As for Brian's apartment, Hearst says it appears he never returned after his night out. His car and seemingly all his belongings remained at the residence.
We actually had crime scene search unit go in. They did a complete search of the apartment. Nothing was out of place. Nothing was missing. It didn't appear that he had returned home that night.
Brian's phone records were also looked into. Hearst says investigators believe the last time his phone legitimately sent a signal to a cell tower or pinged was around the time he disappeared in the Gateway area.
There was a possibility that a ping picked up. I think it was a couple weeks later.
So they have them. Okay, the Gateway area is that walkway, right? That walkway that they were walking through. So they have the dogs stop smelling them right there in the Gateway area. And the last phone ping is in the Gateway area. I would assume that he was probably last at the Gateway area. Somewhere in that area, someone picked him up, maybe through his phone. I don't know, did something with his phone, but turned his phone off. Or maybe he left with somebody and his phone died. Or he turned it off. There is always the possibility that he left on his own. There's always that possibility. Although I don't think so. I don't think he would do that to his father. Hell no, I don't. I just don't see it. I don't see that. They hit this guy. It's not like he was a troublemaker. Him and his father, had problems or anything. And his mom had just died not even a month before. He wouldn't do that to his dad. I don't think any kid would do that. Like, just peace out, Nothing could be that hard other than losing your parent. That's pretty hard. But I think that you wouldn't run away from that just because of that.
And we went and checked that up, but it was one of those, back then the technology isn't like it is now. So it was a little bit more difficult to depict the area.
Because technology wasn't as good as it is now. These things could happen. It's a glitch.
Investigators say Brian's last communications on his phone outside of people trying to locate him after he disappeared, took place in the early morning hours.
Why would his phone glitch like that? I mean, like, that makes no sense.
Of April 1st.
It was around 2:11, I believe. There was a text message that he had received, and that was the last communication that was given on the phone, other than family members trying to reach him after he went missing.
The last several calls were all friends of Brian's that were going to hook up with him if they were going to go to another bar, or I'll see you tomorrow night. Each of those people were interviewed.
Hirsch says police never found a crime scene to indicate if foul play took place. However, it is a possibility.
We never really labeled anybody a suspect. We have, and I think they still have, a couple persons of interest, which I can't go into.
For years, some people have speculated that Brian's friend Clint Florence, who is among the last to see Brian, might somehow be connected. While Clint has been questioned by police, he has never been charged in any way in connection to Brian's disappearance.
I heard he wasn't even questioned. Like, maybe questioned, but not like question, where he did like the lie detector and did the whole thing.
And Corbett doesn't think the speculation around him holds much weight.
He didn't take the polygraph, but quite frankly, I wouldn't take a polygraph.
I wouldn't.
Okay, I don't believe in them. It's no different, at least in my opinion, of a Ouija board. Okay, so I just don't believe in them. Not to mention that when somebody is taking a polygraph, if the polygraph reader makes some mistakes, it looks like there was deception, and maybe there wasn't. So I don't think that was a big issue.
In May 2006, the month after Brian vanished, his apartment was broken into and burglars stole a TV and a couple DVDs. Other nearby apartments were also broken into, and investigators believe it is likely unrelated to Brian's disappearance.
As far as we knew and know now, that I don't know if they discovered anything else, but at that time, it was determined that the only way it might have been connected is somebody had seen that, this guy's missing and this is where he lives. So they went and broke into the apartment.
Throughout the years, alleged sightings of Brian have led Columbus police to seek answers throughout the world, but none of those tips have ever led to Brian.
Where could he possibly be? And over the years, I've seen there's been photos surfaced, like him crouched down in a corner somewhere, like I don't know if it was in Mexico or something. That kind of looked like him, but what would he be doing these last 20 years if he was even alive?
We had a sighting allegedly in Sweden. We had one in the Virgin Islands, numerous throughout the states, Texas, Michigan, Colorado, just to name a few. And all of those were checked out. We had to incorporate the FBI, like with the Virgin Islands, the overseas, to go and verify that. And once they went to the area that he was allegedly seen at, they reported back that there was no indication he was there.
Brian's mother died less than a month before his disappearance. His father died 2 years later.
I used to talk with Randy a lot. He called me direct. He had my cell phone, and he'd call me in the middle of the night, in tears, crying, and just wanted to talk. And that's stuck with me over the years. It's not something you can just forget. So it still bothers me today that, that we weren't able to give him, that peace of mind.
Randy's obituary brought police a new lead. Days after his death, a message was posted online reading, "Dad, I love you, Brian, from the U.S. Virgin Islands." But this turned out to be yet another dead end.
Well, it was a hoax. And
I was going to say that is so wrong to do that. I'm without words. To say, "I love you, Brian." Oh my, and whoever did that, whoever Kitty, whoever did that, I hope you know that, shouldn't be doing that. And Kitty, you just made us go back to the beginning. Dang it, Kitty. Wait, no, we didn't. Almost. Wait, actually, why is this on the same one? Okay. I just switched it. That's why Kitty made me switch stuff. So I think this is where we were.
We followed those up and talked to everybody. And even though there wasn't no footage at the restaurants at that time, we talked to the employees and they determined, we determined that he hadn't went that way. Nobody had noticed him or seen him. The exact number, I'd say maybe 8, 10 off the top of my head. I don't really remember the exact number. There was at least 3 in the construction area and then a couple others throughout the building.
Further than this. I think
Investigators say in 2006, the gateway and surrounding area had extensive security camera coverage.
Obviously, we didn't.
Yeah, I think we heard that part.
Didn't just disappear.
They were right here.
It's below the cameras because the cameras are out, and so forth. And that's one of the things that made this such a big deal.
Okay, yeah, I think it was where the "I love you, Dad." Sorry, guys. Kitty, what did you do? We gotta go this way.
Spontaneous combustion.
No, sorry. Oh, yeah, okay. There, I remember this. They broke into his house. There it is.
Message was posted online reading, "Dad, I love you, Brian," from the U.S. Virgin Islands. But this turned out to be yet another dead end.
Well, it was a hoax. And what we were able to do back then, even the technology we had, they were able to trace the IP addresses, and it came back to a local library here in Columbus. So we went out to check, see if they had video footage, and unfortunately, their camera wasn't working.
Still ahead, the media frenzy that took over following Brian Shaffer's disappearance.
And a look at the attention and why so many people have been drawn to this case. Welcome back to Unsolved Ohio. In April 2006, the story was all over Columbus. And in the 2 decades to follow, Brian Shaffer's story would become known all over.
Countless articles, podcasts, documentaries, social media posts, and community forums have circulated in the years after, all combing through Brian Shaffer's case and still short of any answers.
It was a media frenzy. That story fascinated the audience, but it also fascinated reporters. It had police baffled. It's one of those stories that captured the attention, not just of Central Ohio, but of the nation. There were national news stories done about the disappearance of Brian Shaffer because it was such an odd story. Here was this young, good-looking, successful man. He had gone out with friends, a night of drinking, and he had left the bar at one point, then was seen going back into the bar on surveillance video and never seen again. He was never seen leaving the building. So it was this mystery. It had police baffled. It had the university baffled. It had reporters fascinated, and the public was fascinated. So it got really, really widespread attention.
In 2006, Colleen Marshall was anchoring the evening news at NBC4, as she does now. She remembers back when Brian went missing.
I remember even from the earliest days of that case when we were doing initial stories about a medical student disappearing, being fascinated by the backstory, that he was a successful medical student. He had no reason, it appeared, to simply disappear. And because of the circumstances, because he walked into a building with surveillance cameras and was never seen leaving, the interest in that story just kept building on itself. And then his father was very active in the search for Brian Shaffer. And so he kind of kept it in the news because he was pressuring police to do more. And of course, they never found him.
And it was a story that stayed in the news, with attention and interest maintaining its fever.
You know, that story happened at about the time that true crime became almost, you hate to say it, but an entertainment venue. It became part of the entertainment of networks. And there are still so many true crime podcasts and shows and documentaries. And
what do you think O.J. Simpson was?
This was kind of on the beginning cutting edge of the true crime. And because it was a crime that was so fascinating, because he was fascinating, I think that that's the reason that people still talk about it. And it's a mystery that has never been solved. So people who see themselves as true crime aficionados, they all know about this case because no one knows what happened to Brian Shaffer, and we may never know.
A lot of these online snoops or podcasters, people who are trying to do their own investigation. I think a lot of times it creates.
Ain't nobody trying to do their own investigation. That's just conspiracy theorist. That's just junk channels. There's a difference. But now I don't even like tell people I do YouTube. I don't even like saying it because I feel like people would be side-eyeing me.
It's more controversy than it does helping the investigation and again, I'm not faulting anybody, but they think they have this information or they might have figured something out without having all the facts.
It was more than just the craze.
What about the people that read the documents and they stick to the facts? How about those people? I think those people, like myself, I think that we bring something to the table by covering these cases, by bringing the facts out. Because if there wasn't people bringing out the facts, who would combat the misinformation, disinformation?
Growing true crime enthusiasts behind the curiosity into Brian's case. It widely attracted the public's attention.
I'll be very honest on this because I work on a lot of missing person cases. Brian is a good-looking white male. He was going into a professional career, a doctor. Everybody loves, somebody that goes in and becomes a doctor. I think because he had already got his white coat, he was well on that way to that. And so all of that, I think, plays a big part in it. Mm-hmm. I think it also plays a big part that you can't see him on video. Like, where did he go? And that was an area that had so many videos. How did not one video pick him up leaving? Not just in the gateway. I'm talking, outside of the gateway. How did nobody pick him up? So I think that leads to a lot of the intrigue in Brian's case, which I get it. We all love a good mystery. Unfortunately, this is somebody's real life too. And I think people forget that.
The impact of where it happened and who Brian was captivated people, especially those with ties to a big institution.
I think the other reason so many people were paying attention to this was it happened on the campus of The Ohio State University. Everybody in Central Ohio either went to Ohio State or know someone or have a child or know something or go to the football games. There's a lot of attention just to being at The Ohio State University. And because this happened in the heart of the campus, right there on High Street, I think parents were interested because they may have a child there, or people were interested. Hey, I used to go to that bar when I was at Ohio State. Or for whatever reason, this tie to Ohio State amplified the public interest in this case. And then the fact that the police were saying, we can't find answers, that the police were so desperately looking for clues that they never found. And here we are 20 years later, and everybody is still asking, what happened to Brian Shaffer?
20 years later, continued coverage and renewed spotlight on the case, working to revive hope that one day that question will be answered.
You want people to know that he's still missing. You want people to still be looking, right? Then you get all the weirdos that come along with that. It also, one thing I do want to say about that, I'm really thankful anytime a news station is willing to do an article or an episode on Brian or any other missing person case, because, that's going to reach a lot more people. But it also is extremely painful for these families. Yes, they're very thankful that the information is getting out there, but all those wounds that just start to scab over, year after year, they're ripped right back off.
I think anytime someone has a loved
That's a way to put things.
one missing or somebody in your community vanishes, I think we should all pay attention, maybe even more attention to some of these stories. We're seeing it now with Savannah Guthrie's mother. The world is paying attention to that story. But yet we've heard from other people right here in Central Ohio who've had loved ones missing for decades, and they can't get this kind of attention. I think it is important when there are people missing who just mysteriously vanish that we pay attention, that we try to help those families sort out the answers that.
Don't let her lie to you. The YouTubers, that's where we come in. We're the ones that talk about the cases that other people aren't talking about. The big news agencies are not going to pick up Madison Field's case. Have we seen her case out on the news other than in one local station? No. Any missing kids? What about Madalena Kojikari? Ma'am, new NBC4, ma'am. There's a missing child. I got one for you.
Some of them we'll never find.
It's a puzzle many people have been trying to put together for 2 decades.
Next, what some people think happened to Brian, and later, the latest movement on the case.
The possibilities of what could have happened to Brian Shaffer are endless. Many have their theories, but nothing has ever led to finding him.
Most of those involved with Brian's case tell me they believe he is no longer alive.
Quite frankly, I think that he was either killed and his body was taken and buried.
I think that Brian met with foul play, and I don't know that we're ever going to have those answers, because now, even at this point, let's say the skeletal remains are found, it's going to be very hard to even determine what caused his death at this point.
20 years later, I would say
Not if it was poison.
it's probably safe to presume that he is deceased. But there's always that possibility that he just walked away.
Kenny says he believes there are 3 possibilities that could have happened.
Number one is that he died in the bar, and I don't believe that. I don't think there's any evidence that can back that up. Number 2 is that he left through the construction entrance and foul play happened. He got in a car, maybe an accident happened or whatever, and he's not with us anymore. And number 3, because it's 20 years old and we need to broaden out our view and look at all options, that he's out there somewhere.
The year before he went missing, Brian had spent time in Puerto Rico, and some speculate he could have moved there. It was no secret he loved the beach, sharing on his MySpace, quote, "I want to own an island someday, or at least a beach, so I can listen to Buffett all day and drink margaritas with my senorita."
I know he went to Puerto Rico with some of the OSU students, and went down there and did some medical work, and really, really enjoyed that. I even heard people say that they thought he might go back to Puerto Rico at some time, because it was a
He wouldn't go to Puerto Rico and leave his dad and his girlfriend.
place he really enjoyed.
Kenny says if someone doesn't want to be found, even in today's day and age, it is not as difficult as one may think.
They said his Social Security and credit, none of those have been touched. But if you planned for it, you can overcome those things.
Despite this, Kenny too says he leans more toward foul play as the likeliest possibility.
Buddy.
Robinson is also skeptical of the theory that Brian voluntarily left.
I don't think so.
I just can't see him. I don't know why he would just, I don't even know where he would go.
Regardless of which, if any, theory may be correct, unless someone comes forward with information, the case may remain unsolved.
Until somebody comes forward that knows something, and I believe somebody knows something out there, it's not going to get solved. And it may be somebody who waits, until they're on their deathbed and says, "Hey, by the way, I just hope I'm around long enough to see it get solved."
My gut tells me that the answers are out there. If people could talk and just do it anonymously. I mean, honest to goodness, I don't even care if you get prosecuted at this point. I don't. I want his family to be able to lay him to rest.
Corbett says after 20 years, he thinks the police releasing more information could help the case.
I think the police could have been a little bit more open. I think they could have shared a little bit more, and maybe not right off the bat. Maybe they could have shared a little bit piecemeal as we move on. Maybe they could have said, "Okay, look, we're going to release this, but to certain people," and say, "Please don't release it to anybody else." So transparency was really.
This is is the next cop saying release it to some people and say don't release it to anyone else. Like, okay, yeah, they're really going to do that. They're really going to keep it to themselves.
Lacking. And I think that was a big problem.
But I would like.
Over the years, more information has emerged with tips and new details, but developments in the case itself have seemed to come slow.
Up next, while police have not recently released any new information in Brian's case, some podcasters claim there is a new update.
Who's this podcaster? Let's hear.
We now know this case has had a stronghold on many people involved in true crime media, and many continue to pursue new details and push for answers in finding Brian Shaffer.
Kelly Kokenauer, who runs the Brian Shaffer Dead or Alive social media pages, was recently featured in a 6-episode series about Brian's case on True Crime Garage, a Columbus-based podcast hosted by brothers Nick and Patrick Edwards. After the series aired, Kelly received a tip on her Facebook page.
I had a tip come in through Messenger, and they listed a name of someone that they believe could be involved in Brian's disappearance. And I decided that it was so specific that I would turn it into the Columbus Police Department. And when I was talking to a detective and I said the person's name that was given to me, the detective was very shocked that I even knew that name. And he had been on Columbus Police Department's radar since 2006.
Kelly then shared on her social media that someone with Columbus Police allegedly provided her with more information, including that police dug up a basement in a house near Lane Avenue in relation to Brian's case.
In 2020, when Brian got a new detective, this person's name came up again. I'm not sure how, but they decided that they were going to go to the location where this person lived in 2006. And when they walked in the house, they noticed that a portion of the concrete in the basement looked different than the rest of the concrete. So they left and they went to a judge and they got a warrant to go and dig up the basement. And when they did, all they found was an old fuel oil tank that had been capped off and then recovered.
Columbus Police declined to confirm this information with NBC4 or share any further details about Brian's disappearance, stating, "We will not go into specific case information, but I can tell you this is still an active and ongoing investigation." Investigators continue to receive tips.
They need to give out the video of the ugly tuna that night. We're not going to know those people 20 years later. We're not going to be able to be like, oh, look, there's Heather right there. I'm going to go harass her. Like, you know what I mean? So if they're worried about people getting harassed or anything, it's been 20 years. Just like, give us the ugly tuna video.
Regarding this case and are following up on all tips received, which includes conducting interviews. However, Corbett also shared that he was separately given the same information by someone close to the case.
There was a dig not too far from the Ugly Tuna Saloon in the basement of a place that is believed was
Lane Avenue. It would have to go that way.
resided in by an individual that was with Brian on occasion. Now, that night, can I confirm it? No. The police do know who he is. They have interviewed him at least once, I believe twice. The dig did not really come out with anything.
While the tip did not result in an arrest in Brian's case, the podcast host, Patrick and Nick Edwards, believe it could be significant.
It just breeds more questions, because when an individual says, yeah, well, we searched that house. Well, what was the information that got them to get the search warrant? Like, you can't just willy-nilly go dig up somebody's basement.
In regard to this tip specifically,
he said because there appeared to be discoloration on the floor, he got a tip to go there. We just heard that. And then there was discoloration on the floor. So he told a judge, talked to a judge wrote him out a search warrant to dig up the floor. We just heard it. But apparently they didn't hear it.
Patrick's absolutely right. Columbus Police Department, they decided that the tip was worth its weight, and they investigated.
Patrick, Nick, and Kelly hope that their coverage and sharing the information about the basement dig can lead to answers in Brian's case.
We're lucky enough to have a very big, very broad audience. And we have 1 million downloads every month.
The internet is a powerful place, and people will.
Wonder why. What happened?
Dig into these leads that maybe we've not been able to find much more out about. Somebody else might be able to do that. But if you've only heard 10% of the true story, well, then how much can you actually look into? So we just felt like it was important to get that information out.
You're watching Unsolved Ohio.
And before we go, we will give you a final look at Brian.
There's still a family there that's missing him and loving him and wanting answers. They don't want to see their loved one in an episode of, a missing person. They want him to be home.
Here's another look at Brian Shaffer. At the time of his disappearance, he was 27 years old, 6'2", and weighing around 165 pounds. He had brown hair, hazel eyes, and a Pearl Jam tattoo on his upper right arm. Today, he would be 47 years old. Here's the most recent age progression photo of what he may have looked like when this photo was done in 2021.
That guy looks familiar. Who is that? He's on like a TV show. I can't think of who he is, but he looks like someone. I don't like these age progression. They freak me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Central Ohio Crime Stoppers is offering up to a $2,000 reward for information in Brian's case that leads to a conclusion.
What? Did they say 2,000?
Photo was done in 2021.
Central Ohio Crime Stoppers is offering up to a $2,000 reward for information in Brian's case that leads to a conclusion. If you have any
$2,000. He's been missing for 20 years. And you guys want to give out $2,000? Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. They should be giving way more than that. $2,000. That's disappointing. Hey, kitty. Oh, just put his paw on my hand. Look at that. You're so cute. You can't see her, but she's right. She's right here in her spot. Did you know that they make desks so they make cat beds that clip on your desk? Yeah, they make those. I'm gonna get her one. She's standing up now. Just can't see her. She's so little. Oh, that's what I was gonna tell you real quick. We brought Rocky in. To say he hates her is an understatement. I thought he was going to have a damn heart attack. I swear to you, me and Vincent were looking like he was like hissing, but it's kind of funny because he's fine now. I mean, he was hissing like because we had the kitten in the cage, like they couldn't get to each other, and he's hissing and he's coughing as he's like. It's so sad, but it was funny. It's sad, but it's funny because he didn't have a heart attack. Thank God. I would die. But he just wanted out. He was like, no. That's what he said. He's never seen a cat before. So we're going to try it again. Raya wanted to play. She was all about it. Mia didn't give a damn. Mia just wanted me to pet her. She was like, what? What is that? She probably thought it was Rocky. Like and we let him in at different times. Like we didn't let all three, just come in. But I'm gonna have to figure out how to zoom in so I can get the cats and you can hear it. Rocky. Oh my gosh. I was like, we were all like, me and Vincent were like, he's gonna have a heart attack. Like, but then he just left and he was fine. He was laying on the couch, like all spread out. Yeah. Yeah. He held me. Yeah. He was like, this is not my responsibility, Mom. What are you doing? And then he looked at Vincent like, Dad, I know you didn't do this. I know you didn't replace me. Vincent ran out. As soon as Rocky left, Vincent went with him. Was like, you're my best friend, Rocky. Yeah, he was. Well, and he's never seen another cat, especially that close. He's only seen one and it was outside and it was far. Like it was far enough to where he was fine, you know, he was just like looking at it. But we had to like, couldn't see her. So we kind of like put him in front of the cage, like, Rocky, here you go. You know, there she is. And he was like, no way, Jose. And I was like, okay, buddy, I'm sorry. Yeah, he pissed. I'm gonna go spend some time with him. He pissed. Kitty has this whole room to herself though. And I tell her it's bedtime, and then she goes and she got out of her kennel one day. She doesn't have to sleep in there. The door's open. She can sleep on the chair. She could sleep on the dog bed. We have a cat. I have a cat perch right here with the bed. She already busted the ball. Like there was a ball in there. Busted it. But I have 2 extra balls. They hang down. So I got her a new one. What else? You have that to lay on. You got the carpet. You got the chair. You got your little bed there. You got a bed back there. You got this bed. Yeah, tons. Oh, I'm glad, Ashley. I hope that Rocky's okay. He's going to have a friend. Rocky don't want a friend. He's like, I don't want that friend. Take that friend back. But I'm going to jump off here because I did hear Vincent come in. So I'm going to go visit with him. He was out working. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I might do a live during the day. You never know. I have something to do every day, of course. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah, and Thursday. I got to wake up tomorrow early though. But it's just for a doctor's appointment, but it's over the phone. It's not even like over the computer, which is cool with me. So I might come on tomorrow during the day and do a live. Maybe we'll do it on the second channel. Maybe we'll do it on this channel because I have some cases I want to like run by you guys. And there's a lot of cases happening in Ohio. So I'm going to post on my wall each case. So we've got the Tepe murders. I'm sure everybody's going to want to know what's going on with that case, but I'm going to put a community post up just so I can get a vote. The Caleb Flynn case, the Kyle and Rachel Long case. Kyle Long is saying that Rachel killed herself with the stab wound 17 to herself, and she didn't. Obviously, she didn't do the defensive wounds to her hands. So he's another one that's close to me. I didn't realize that they were only like 45 minutes from me. And then Madison Fields case, which we can always keep that one just kind of like in the back because until we hear something, we can always keep covering that. But there's so many Ohio cases. We're wilding out over here in Ohio. I'm like, geez Louise, there's so many cases going to trial. But I'll do some community posts tomorrow so you guys can vote on those. And if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do that for me. If you guys don't mind, hit the like button on your way out. If you're watching on a replay, comment below what you guys think of this case. I will be doing a documentary. I'll be putting it out this weekend over this case. It won't be long. It'll be less than 10 minutes probably. So make sure you watch it, give your girl a view, all the good things, and I'll see you guys all later. Have a wonderful evening. Bye guys.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.